Rain tapped gently against a window pane as Amelia Scott sank in the corner of her plush velvet couch, wrapped in a gray throw that still carried the faint scent of last week's lavender detergent. She stared into the dim room, where the only light came from a flickering candle on the coffee table. Shadows danced against the walls, and her heart felt heavier than it should have on a quiet Friday night. She sipped her tea, trying not to think about the message she'd received just hours earlier. "I'm in town. We need to talk." Nathan, that name, that voice, that history. Amelia hadn't seen Nathan Cole in nearly 3 years. When he left, it wasn't dramatic. It was silent. The kind of silence that doesn't slam doors or throw luggage, but disappears slowly like smoke from a snuff candle. She didn't cry when he left. Not at first. But every night since, she wondered why love never looked the way it did in the novels stacked by her bedside. She had moved on. At least, that's what she told herself. She had a decent job managing a local bookstore, an apartment that smelled of vanilla and old paper, and a routine that made her feel stable, even if not entirely whole. But one thing Amelia had always been good at was pretending. Her phone buzzed again. It was from her best friend, Lila. "You okay?" I saw he posted a picture near the pier. Amelia didn't respond. She didn't know what she would say. Instead, she glanced at the time. 9:42 p.m. Almost unconsciously, her feet found the floor, her fingers grabbed the keys, and her heart, though unwilling, guided her toward the door. The streets were glossy with rain, and the reflections of neon signs smeared the pavement in colors. Her car rolled silently through the night, her breath fogging the windshield in slow, nervous puffs. She had no idea where he was, but some part of her felt like she didn't need to know. If Nathan was meant to find her again, he would. But fate wasn't always so patient. She parked near the old marina, a place they used to sneak off to during the early months of their relationship. The scent of salt and damp would clung to the air as she stepped out, umbrella in hand. And then, as if the past summoned itself into the present, she saw him, leaning against a railing, hands in the pockets of his leather jacket, hair a little longer than before, but those familiar eyes, still the same. "Nathan," she said softly. He turned, slowly, as if he already knew she would come. "Hey," he replied, his voice low, almost cautious. They stood in silence, letting the rain speak for them. Amelia didn't know whether to hug him or walk away. But he stepped closer, just enough for her to catch the scent of his cologne. Subtle, woodsy, familiar. "You look different," he said, eyes scanning her face. "Happier." "That's because I learned how to lie," she said. It stung more than she meant it to, but she didn't take it back. Nathan smiled, just barely. "I deserve that." They walked along the pier, without saying much more. It wasn't until they reached the covered bench near the end that they stopped. She remembered sitting there years ago, wrapped in his arms as they talked about everything from music to their imagined future. He had wanted to travel the world. She had wanted to own a bookstore. Funny how only one dream had survived. "Why are you really here?" she asked. Nathan took a breath, looking out into the black horizon. "I made mistakes, Amelia. Big ones. I left because I thought I needed space to figure things out. But all I figured out was what I lost. Is that what this is? Regret?" "No," he said quickly. "It's clarity." Amelia studied him, trying to reconcile the boy she once loved with the man standing in front of her. "And what exactly are you clear about?" "You," he said. "Us. What we had, and what I destroyed." The words settled in the air like fog, thick and clinging. She stood there for a moment before sitting on the bench. He followed. "You never said goodbye," she whispered. "I couldn't. If I had, I would have stayed." A part of her wanted to believe that. Another part, the part that had woken up alone too many times, didn't care anymore. "I'm not the same girl you left," she said. "I know," he replied, his voice quiet. "You're stronger now." She met his gaze. "And smarter. And more beautiful," he added. "Flattery doesn't erase the past. I'm not here to erase it. I'm here to ask for a future." That made her laugh, a small, almost bitter sound. "You think you can just come back, say the right words, and everything we went through just disappears?" "No," he said, "but I was hoping I could earn your trust again." She looked away, the ocean's endless churn mirroring the turmoil inside her. It's not that simple. It never was, he admitted. A gust of wind whipped her hair around her face. Without thinking, Nathan reached over and tucked a strand behind her ear. Her breath hitched, and for a second, the years between them fell away. I still love you, he said. Her heart wanted to leap. Her mind wanted to run. So she stood. You need to go, she said. He didn't argue. He just nodded, the faintest trace of pain in his eyes. As he turned to leave, she called out, Nathan. He paused. I never stopped loving you either, she said. And just like that, he smiled. 3 days passed before she heard from him again. A letter slid under her door. No promises, just honesty. Inside was a note written in his messy handwriting. I won't pretend I'm perfect. I won't promise I'll never mess up. But I swear, if you give me a second chance, I'll spend every day earning it. She read it 3 times before setting it on her nightstand. The next morning, she showed up at the cafe downtown, the one they used to visit on Sundays. He was already there, waiting, holding 2 cups of coffee. She sat down without a word. They didn't need to talk. Not yet, because sometimes silence holds the greatest truths. Weeks passed, and Amelia found herself smiling more often. Nathan wasn't rushing anything, and she appreciated that. He came by the bookstore sometimes, helping her reorganize shelves or sharing random trivia about authors he'd never read. They laughed again, laughed in a way that made her stomach twist with warmth. One night, as they closed up the shop, he lingered by the door. She turned off the lights and looked at him in the dim glow of the exit sign. I don't wear the same lies anymore, she said. He looked at her, confused. I used to pretend I was okay. Now I don't need to. He stepped closer, his eyes locking with hers. Me neither. Their kiss wasn't fiery or dramatic. It was soft, cautious, like the first brush of spring after a long winter. It spoke of apologies, forgiveness, and hope. From that night on, their story unfolded slowly, delicately, like pages turned by a breeze. They didn't erase the past. They honored it, because love, real love, isn't about perfection. It's about choosing each other again and again, despite the flaws, the fears, the things left unsaid. And as the seasons changed and the city breathed in summer air, Amelia no longer needed pretend. She was whole, not because Nathan returned, but because she chose to love without lying to herself. The lies they once wore, they had been shed like autumn leaves. What remained was raw, honest, and beautiful.